Welcome to the Cell, everybody. Cool conversations with the most amazing salespeople I can find.
All right, everybody, we're back at the greatest sales podcast the world ever invented. Actually, it's the greatest sales podcast I ever invented because it's the only one. And I've had a bit of an interesting experience in America. About a month ago, I met a young man called Aiden. And then about 2 weeks ago, I met another young dude called Aidan. I don't know if everyone in America is called Aidan, but today we have Aiden Brannigan on, who is the meme master. Aiden, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I've heard, I think Aiden is the name of every white dude in America right now.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed. So the other dude we should reference is Aiden Cleghorn, who's doing some cool kind of GTM engineering stuff. He posted something, and I replied to him, but I actually replied to you by mistake.
Oh, well, I actually got on a call with him on Friday last week, so I did meet him for the first time, but that's funny. He's been crushing it.
Yeah, how did you meet him? Obviously, just the wonderful world of LinkedIn.
He just shot me a DM maybe like 2 months ago and was like, yo, I'm in school. Like a lot of the things he was communicating to me, I was experiencing when I was a junior and senior in college, where it's like, I know I'm talented. He knows he's talented. He goes to like an average school. Like I went to the University of Maryland, which is a public university. It's a great school, but like it's not an Ivy League school. He goes to SUNY, which is like State University of New York in Cobleskill, I think. And like he has an average GPA. So if you look at a resume, it's not like Apple's not going to come knocking on his door and be like, yo, come work with us. And like I felt the same way. Like I had a 3.5 GPA. I went to a public school. Like my name is Aidan Brannigan. Like it's like the when they see that, they're going to throw that resume away. But I knew if I got in front of them, they'd be like, I don't know what about this kid, but we need to hire him. And so he was just communicating to me. He's like, I don't think I can do it with school. And I was like, dude, you're being soft. Like, if it makes you feel any better is what I said to him. Like, I posted content every single day while I was a full-time student. And my senior year, I posted content every single day, multiple times a day. I was a full-time student, and I had a full-time job at a startup. Like, and he's like, all right, I'm going to keep posting. So, you know, obviously I have to take credit for all of his success.
I was gonna say this dude was a nothing. This dude was a nothing until he met you, man. Then he's like, oh, holy shit, this dude showed me the light. But it's honestly, it's kind of weird, right? I have introduced Aiden to one of my startups, and when we got off the call, they were like, oh my god, this kid's a crusher. And you know, this idea that just because he goes to some average school, he can't be a crusher, it's such bullshit these days, right? If you're just willing to show up and go after it, you can do whatever you like.
Yeah. Also, too, like, after I graduated college, I moved to Austin, Texas, and that did so many things for me of, like, just opening up. This sounds so foo-foo and dumb, and, like, but, like, it opened my consciousness to, like, what was possible. And so with something like that with Aiden, like, just by simply communicating to him, by the way, when I was in your shoes, this is what I did, and, like, you know, I still went out and partied 3 days a week, by the way, like, and was having fun and enjoying college, but I did post content every single day. So the fact that you're making an excuse, don't act like someone else or no one else has ever been in your shoes there. And it opens, like, his awareness that, like, oh, people have done this before, and it's very valuable. I experienced that because I was around people where, you know, when they tell, like, not in a flexing way, but when they told me how much money they made, I was like, what? Excuse me, sir? Like, what? And I'm like, you're not incrementally smarter than me. Like, you're an average dude and you're making that much money? Holy crap, I can do that too.
You know, Aiden, I'll send over to you. So I had a guy on my podcast called Austin Guest, and he is a sales guy, definitely more my age, late mid-50s, I think. And he self-described grew up not just on the wrong side of the tracks, but on the wrong side of the shittiest tracks, like literally. And he said, wait, I have no GPA, no nothing, but wait, if I just sell stuff and sell more and work hard, like literally, I can make more money. Now he lives in Manhattan, he collects art, he lives by the park. And you know what he says to me when we were on the call? I was like, do you ever get tired of it? He's like, dude, I make cold calls to make myself feel better. Like I wake up and I get at it. And he said, because I'm still that scared kid from the wrong side of the shitty tracks who wants to rip calls because, sure, it's found me a way out. And that's honestly, like, that's not going to change. Whether, and we'll talk about what you do, whether it's making memes, knocking on doors, just getting after it. Sales, it's so clear. If you put yourself at it, endlessly, like I like this idea that you posted content every day, and I'm sure for a long time, no one gave a fuck, right? Nobody cared.
No one, people made fun of me. Like I have not missed a single day of posting content since May 8th of 2022. I remember that was Mother's Day of 2022, but like I will not miss a day. And that includes like traveling way different time zones, like Dubai, the UK, back to the States, like, and making sure I don't miss a day of posting, just because I realized how hard it was to get momentum, and once I had momentum, I didn't want to lose it, and so you got to keep your foot on the gas, and like that also happens with sales too. Like my job has shifted largely over the last 6 months. Like I still am like a content creator first, like a creative first, but like my main role now with my company is selling, and prospecting. And just getting new leads into the door.
So why don't we tell people? So I'll tell you how I found you. Obviously, the wonderful world of LinkedIn. So my colleague, a lady called Heinze, who works for me to help me do everything I do, it's like, holy shit, you got to follow this dude. And that's the words, right? Holy shit, you got to follow this dude. And your stuff is good. So before I describe what your stuff is, why don't you tell my enormous audience of 12 people what do you actually do?
I sell funny content. Like that's the baseline. I sell funny content primarily to software companies. So some of the brands that we currently work with and have worked with in the past: Zapier, Apollo, ClickUp, Clay, Trainual, Demandbase, Palo Alto Networks, Roofer. So we've worked with a bunch of software companies, and then occasionally the funny consumer-facing brand. I don't know if you know Blue Chew, but Blue Chew is like a med tech company based in Austin that helps with like erectile dysfunction. So that was a fun client. And then, so with them, we create funny content for their brand social. And we have contractors and creators that we put on these agreements with them. And the entire creative load is on us. The execution is on us. And we're giving them banger content to put on their feed that breaks up like their, hey, look at us. Hey, look at us. Hey, look at us. Content that every software company puts out.
So, oh my God, dude! Like, again, remember, I'm 174 years old, so I was born. No, I'm 58. But I have always worked in tech and B2B, where selling is, hey, do you want to see my brochure? Or do you want to see my white paper? Do you want to see my blog? It's like, no, I don't want to see your fucking shit. Like, it's boring as hell. But on the other side of it, so many tech companies are frightened of funny content because they have to be professional. Do you need to convince them now, or how do you get them over the line that funny actually sells?
Yeah, I when we are on sales calls, like it's not as much convincing, it's just reassuring that yes, like there's strategy behind what we're doing and it's not just unhinged. Like most of the brands we work with, and this is intentional, like why we kind of went upstream a little bit, and it would be way easier for me to get, like we work with anywhere from like 12 to 15 brands a month, and they're on monthly recurring retainers, but I could probably work with 50 brands at once if all of them were like startups, like just starting out. Maybe they just raised like 500K seed or whatever. The only issue with that is like the value that we provide is a different type of value. So most of the reason we went upstream is, let's say at a company like Apollo. You know Apollo?
Dude, I'm in sales. Yeah. Dude, what do you think? I work in sales.
I figured you did.
Oh my God, he's trolling me. I'm going to fucking hang up.
Great software. So like a company like Apollo, that is such a competitive market that you can only like price in so many different ways, whether it's credits or a monthly subscription. Like everyone's kind of pulling from similar data, and it's like, all right, our data is 1% better.
Whether you use Apollo or Hunter or Lemlist, it's all the same, right?
Yeah, and so they're all at this inflection point where it's like they need to differentiate, and it's not through their product anymore. It's through their positioning, messaging, and marketing. And so that's where we come in, and like we're helping them do that. But also, there's like some legitimate science to using humor to sell to people without them realizing you're selling to them. There's like a TED Talk. I forget the two ladies' names. But there's so much data on like I believe it's 90% of consumers wish that brands used more humor in their messaging. I'll send you that, or it's an Oracle case study that they reference, and it's like super profound. I usually have the stats off the dome here, but I don't. But yeah, like I just frame it to them. I'm like, hey, when people think of memes and humor, they immediately think of Unhinged. They think of a brand like Ryanair. I don't know if you've seen any of their social media.
I mean, they're famous. Like, oh, what? It's cheap? You haven't seen shit yet. Like, there's no peanuts. There's no seats. There's no nothing.
There's no window. Like, and then, so Ryanair, Slim Jim, American company that's like very unhinged on Twitter. And then Duolingo's like the golden child of this, where it's like pure chaos on socials. And it works for all three of those brands. They're like for a multitude of reasons. They're consumer facing. Their products are a little bit more are cheaper. It's like $5 a month or whatever. But when I bring these to a software company, like a company like Palo Alto Networks, which is a $100 billion publicly traded company based in Palo Alto, California, I can't be like, yo, we're going to be unhinged on socials. Instead, I'm like, we're going to use humor to signal awareness and understanding of your audience's pain points. And they're going to see this content and immediately be like, oh my goodness, do they have a camera in my room? How do they know I'm experiencing this? And that does two things. It's relatable. They're going to want to share it in Slack and be like, this is so me. Also, it subconsciously communicates to them that, hey, like our product solves this pain. Do you see how we're aware of this pain that you're experiencing? Our product solves this pain. So like that's like what I explain to them. And then they're like bought in. And they're like, oh, they're like thinking strategically about this content. It's not just like interns being funny.
Dude, honestly, like, okay, let's start. Are you a creative guy or a sales guy or both? Like your heart?
Both. I think I'm like, my dad's a salesman, a really good salesman. And so just seeing him operate, like learned a bunch of just like interpersonal skills and emotional intelligence from him, and like how to tell a story and how to like bridge a gap between someone when you're meeting them for the first time to have them warm up to you. But like I'm very, very creative, and I do think like my definition of creativity is just ignoring everybody. So if you want to be creative, everyone thinks being creative is like go study what everyone else in your industry is doing, and then ideas will come to you. But I believe it's the opposite. It's don't look at anything anyone is doing in your industry. And that's how you bring something to the timeline that's creative.
Wow. Nice, man. And then, okay, I have to ask, what did your dad sell?
He still sells yearbooks. So it's like a very tough sell. Like it's progressively getting harder too. But he works at a company called Jostens. So
wow, what a legend.
Yeah, he is a legend. He's I believe there's only like 15 people all time in company history that have done over 50 million in sales, and he just got
your dad. Wait, your dad sold 50 million of yearbooks?
Yeah, he has.
What? Okay, that's so sick. Like, that is okay. So we see where you got that from, and then the creative side. So I've only seen your video stuff. So when you think about creative for the companies, is it always just video like what I'm seeing on your feed, or are you doing all kinds of content?
Yeah, the thought process there is we get high on our own supply. So everything I do on my feed is what we do with our clients. And that's another thing when they get on a call and they're like, does this work? I'm like, why'd you book a call with me? They're like, well, your content's funny. And I'm like, yeah, that's the point.
Yeah, let's go.
And then like, oh, so I would say 90% of the content we make across all of our clients is video, whether it's like a video meme or like a skit. And then occasionally we'll throw some static up there. Like clients that already have a big audience on social media will skew more towards creating static photos for, like static content. But the majority of our clients are hiring us because they have a pain of not having an audience, and so we make video.
Do you appear in all of them? Wait. So, like, are you
No.
like the poster child for all of these guys?
No. Not at all. I right now only appear in one of our clients' content, and it's our first client ever. It's this company, Trainual, and we've been working with them since the end of 2023. No. Yes, end of 2023, October 2023. And so that's more of like, I'm just being loyal to them, and I haven't moved any of our creators into those videos. But when we sign a client, we have a team of creators that appear in all the content.
So how many people at your company?
Full time, it's me and then Arupe on my team, and then we have Charles, who's 20 hours a week, and then we have 9 contracted creators that will put on projects when they come about.
Holy shit, dude! It's pretty sweet, right?
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, it's fun.
Where do you want to take it? Like, what's your thing with it?
Yeah, we're in the process of making a pretty big shift in the business. Like, I've been acquiring Instagram accounts. So I've been acquiring like corporate work humor audiences. So these accounts have 80, 160,000 followers, 20,000 followers, whatever it may be. And we're buying them for distribution for a few things. Like I haven't announced what we're doing with it yet. So I don't want to go too in the weeds with it. But when we do announce it, happy to come back on and like tell you the thought process.
Okay.
It's pretty big time, but it's like a big shift in the business and how we're monetizing.
Okay. I won't go down into that. I would love to hear. Right now, you make the content. They put it up on the feed. How it performs or whatever, that you don't get paid on top of. You're not getting paid for their sales or anything else on top. If it does well, they'll rebook you. If it does shitty, they won't rebook you, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
How do they decide if it goes well? Like, how much they laugh, how many impressions, like what's the deal?
Yeah, we defined that early on. It was like, all right, what's the reason you're coming to us? Because it's different. Like, we've had brands who come to us in the past and like, we want to use this content for investor pitch decks to raise our next $100 million. It's like, okay. We've had people who are like, we want to use this for recruiting. Like, we want to put it on our feed. And sure, if it performs well, we just want to see candidates who will see that and be like, that looks like a cool company. I want to work there. But the heavy majority is brands that are like, our organic social's garbage. They recognize the value of organic social. So and this is for like, I'm sure you know this, but I'll explain this for your audience that isn't familiar with social, but there's paid social and organic social. Paid social is running ads, and that is like a water faucet you can immediately turn on and immediately see results. Like, in a sense, you could spend $10 and get $11 back essentially instantly if you're willing to spend that $10. Organic social is not a faucet you can turn on. It takes so long to see results. With paid, over time, the cost to get the same results increases. So it becomes less and less and less efficient. Organic social, the cost to see the same results gets increasingly cheaper. So it's more and more efficient. It just takes way longer to get to those results. So brands, 98% of SaaS brands run ads, and they see the value in ads. But they've been doing it for years, and they're like, why are we spending 5 times more now to get the same results as in 2020? And then they'll see the occasional company like ClickUp, who has millions of followers and is doing 400 million views a month, and they just fully invested maybe $100K a month in organic, and now ClickUp has a distribution engine. So that's like why people come to us. They're starting to realize the value of organic social, and so we come in and we're like, hey, we can speak to your ideal customer organically. Like, we don't have to pay to get in front of them. Like, we know how to get in front of them organically.
For a funny guy, you know a lot about the actual business.
Oh yeah, that's what I love to be in the sweet spot, right? Like, Robert Greene, you know Robert Greene?
This time I don't, so no.
He wrote a book called The 48 Laws of Power.
Okay.
And like law number 24 or something is like you gain nothing from being properly estimated, which is this thing like on social media now. People love to build in public, and they're like, here's how much money my business made. Here's how much here are the failures, the downsides. That is just like, that's like this is kind of raunchy, but that's like the equivalent of masturbation. Like it's people like doing ego masturbation.
Sure. Yep.
And like it's not a strategic move at all. They're just like soothing themselves. So I like to play this side of like, I want when people see me to feel like they can have the upper hand on me because they think I'm like this silly, funny guy. But that's just like all part of it. And I like to, like with the content I put out is like, I try to make it as effortless as possible, even though there's tons and tons of work. Like that 401k video that you said you liked, right? Like I have a rolling doc of all these concepts, and the way we got that video going is I had an initial concept. We have Jacob, who's one of our creators. He's about to graduate college, and he also just like likes to gamble. And I was like, this naturally will fit his persona. Like, so when he says it, it feels natural, which is what we're trying to get at with all those skits. We want it to feel as natural as possible, so that people are like, is that a skit? Like, is that real? Like, what's going on? And so we recorded it twice, and I was like, this just doesn't have enough. And so then I sat down, I'm like, there needs to be like another punchline at the end, which is when we came up with the 401k. Like, I'll put in my 401,000 account, K. Or I mean, 401k or whatever. And so, yeah, there's a lot of thought that goes behind this.
I was going to say, and you know, we should dig it. We should tell people. We'll link it in the show notes so people can go and see. But it really struck me that you must put a lot of thought. Like I can hear it now, dude. Like that you really understand this industry. But some of the stuff that you do. The first one that I saw. So we'll come to this 401k one because I thought it was brilliant. But the one that I saw was the similar one, which, you know, I'll briefly describe it. You can tell the audience, which is a video of a laptop with 4 people having a Zoom call, which is a real thing, right? And then somebody said, yeah, we're having a snow day, so I have to sit in my out of office, right? Or I can't come to the office because I'm having a snow day. And it's like, wait, we work remote.
Yeah.
And it was like, the minute he said that, I'm like, oh, okay, this is a skit. But when it started, and I think, so look, I love humor. I think it's the greatest thing in the world. In my dreams, one day when I'm brave enough, I want to stand up at a comedy night and shoot my shot. Like I love it, but I love it. So I'm British. You know, I like Ricky Gervais. I like different styles of it, the sarcastic bit, and I don't like obvious humor. And
Yeah,
I think that's what you've. I mean, you could talk a little bit more how thoughtful it is, but I think you're really good at this. Humor that's not obvious.
Yeah, and thank you. I appreciate that. Now, like, I've had so many flops, and there's so many times where I'm like
sure.
lazy and have like that obvious humor. But LinkedIn is the quintessential platform where it's people who are not funny at all,
100%.
and they think they're funny by doing obvious humor, and it's like it's so dumb. And so it's just very. Yeah. It also, there's so many parallels with when I tell people I work in social media, everyone assumes my job is easier because everyone uses social media. Everyone knows how to click post on a video. And so they assume my job's easy. And that's just like humor too. Like people on LinkedIn, like these guys can't be making any money from being funny. Like I can do it, and they do an obvious joke, that doesn't do anything to me other than I'm like, that person just hasn't practiced this skill enough. Like humor is a skill, and they just haven't practiced it enough. But yeah, there's like another thing that I've been doing. Like I have a buddy who's a videographer, and he followed me around the city a day, and like we have all this content of myself. And back to that point of like building in public, all these dudes are like, here's how I left my 6-figure salary job, and now I'm making $50K a month, and it's like them being bros. And so I'm mocking that, And it's
saw
that
it.
also not obvious humor. When you see it at first, you're like, here's another one of these jackwagons just flexing
Yeah.
how much money he makes when he made 50K one single month, and the next month made 3K or whatever. But and the post is me jealous of your corporate job. I make your monthly salary every 6 weeks, and people are like, that went crazy viral. Because when you see that picture, it's a picture of me like smiling. It's by my car, like it's a nice photo, and the text over it's like super broy, and they probably think I'm saying I make their yearly salary every 6 months.
Every 6 weeks. Yeah.
And then like everyone, yeah, every 6 weeks, and then everyone's like commenting like this guy's an idiot, and like that's the spot I like to be in.
Yeah, but dude, like, oh my God, like you've really thought about it, because when I start to look at it, I can see it. So, for example, your other one you just had, your 120K a month corporate salary. Huh, why would I want that? I make 5K a month. Do the math. And
Yeah.
it's that there's no joke in those words, right? It's no joke. And then you're like, oh, okay. And then it's I'm a bro. And look, let's face it. If there's any way you can make fun of people, it's on LinkedIn, because 99% of LinkedIn is just boring, straight. I'm humbled and privileged to announce that I have X, Y, Z. Or, you know, like the crypto bros that hang out there so often, they're elsewhere. But it takes real thought to do thoughtful humor. I mean, it sounds a bit using the same words, but that takes time.
Yeah, there's also a funny story that I'll tell you that you just kind of reminded me of, to that, like, I'm humbled to announce or whatever. When I was a junior in college is when everyone started to get internships, and, you know, the University of Maryland is near DC, so most of the internships people get are from, like, the companies in the DC area, like a Capital One. And so, like, everyone's like, that's a really good company, and everyone's like, oh, I'm proud to announce I got an internship at Capital One. Thank you to this hiring manager. Thank you to this hiring manager. I'm super excited this summer to do this, this, and this. And then it's a picture of Capital One's logo. And so I was still in this phase of like, I know I have some sauce. Like, I can get one of these jobs, but like, it's not something that's going to be shown on paper. And and so I went and saw the new Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland. This was like 5 years ago, maybe, with my parents. And then I walked out of that movie, and I had an idea. And so I whipped up a post on LinkedIn where I was like, I'm proud to announce that I got an internship at Stark Industries. Thank you, Tony Stark, for the opportunity. Like, super excited. And then at the end, I'm like, and for anyone who doesn't know what Stark Industries is, but like in that, in the Marvel universe, Tony Stark is Iron Man, and his company in that movie is Stark Industries. And it was like timely, and it was ironic because I'm kind of making fun of everyone else that posts about, like, I'm proud to announce. And then at the bottom I said, on a serious note, I'm looking for a marketing internship. That to date is still my most viral LinkedIn post ever. Like, it has 1.8 million impressions.
What?
And I still have the spreadsheet, but I had 75 warm inbound opportunities because of that. Some were full-time offers. The majority were internships. And so I basically had my choice of like where I wanted to work.
Dude, I don't know how old your dad is. We're probably about the same age, because you're 25, right?
Yep, he's 54. He's about to turn 55.
Same. The idea that you can take one piece of, we didn't have content, but sales, like as a piece of sales literature, and generate 75 warm inbound leads when your dad, and I used to walk around selling life insurance, knocking on doors. There was no scale, right? There was no scale back then. It was hand-to-hand combat, right? And it's so awesome. And the other side is, you don't know. Like, the reason you post content every day, and you have one of them that goes 1.8 million. You have 100 that did 0, and they were terrible, and nobody read them, and whatever. And you keep doing them. But this idea that you do that, and you get 75 warm inbounds. Meanwhile, because, I know a lot of young people your age and parents are like, oh, my kid can't get a job. I'm like, what are they doing? Oh, well, they do all the easy apply on LinkedIn. I'm like, really? You mean what? With your 10,000 other kids who are doing easy apply? And it's the same with sales. Like if you do what everyone else is doing, you'll get the same result, which is nothing. That's so. But hold on, question. You didn't take any of those 75? It spurred you on to do your own thing?
No, I did take one of the 75. So I had an interview with Meta, Walt Disney, Opta. Like, yeah, it was pretty sweet. So I got to see it through that, like, those companies that I really wanted to work at that I knew I'd never be able to get an interview at. I was able to skip, like, the preliminary interview and have one call with the hiring manager. And then they realized this guy's too much of an idiot to work here. Just kidding. But and then I had an interview with this company, Overtime, which is a sports media company based in New York. And like I'm a huge I used to be a humongous sports guy. I'm still a big sports fan. But that was kind of like a dream job. And so I took that and I worked there for 8 months throughout my junior and senior year. And so that was cool. But then my senior year of college, I got a full-time job at a startup called Workweek. And I worked full-time throughout my senior year of college and then moved to Austin, which is where their headquarters, and worked there for a year. So I was at Workweek for 2.5 years before I left and went full-time on my business.
You know, honestly, man, I will make, you know, obviously I'm going to clip this and make a few reels because, you know, I'm cool and I know how to do that shit. But this idea, you know, that by making one post that was out of the ordinary, that was different, you got inbound where, I mean, I guarantee you, I mean, you know that you have friends from college who still can't get a job, right? Because they're doing the same stuff. And you want to get them and say, scream and do it. So I need to ask you, okay, so there's still young people who are not posting. But what would you say to people like in my age group? Because I deal with a lot of people in my age group who are like, oh, I don't post, it's embarrassing. Oh, what will people think? Oh, I shouldn't post. Like, what do you tell people who it's not native to them to get them going?
Yeah, the first thing, no one's going to see the content, so it's not embarrassing. Like, you're going to post for 3 months and you're going to get 10 views. So, like, that's not embarrassing at all. So that's what I tell them. Like, okay, great, you're going to post. Stop thinking you're like the next coming of, like, Mr. Beast. You're going to get 4 views. No one's going to see that. Like, so what? So just post. And then once they have that first post that does get traction, that's another thing to deal with. But, like, everyone goes through it. The first time you go viral, you get hate. It's like looking through the comments because you get that cortisol spike, the dopamine hit, and it's like, shit. Like, oh, people hate me. Do I delete this post? Like, everyone goes through that the first time they go viral. But, like, the first thing I would say is no one's going to see the content. So just post it. And then this is, like, counterintuitive, but I always optimize for myself when creating content, and I believe every creator should. And I don't mean that in, like, a selfish way and, like, boastful, but in a remove friction for yourself to just be able to create content consistently. Everyone thinks they need to be creating content in these formats that like a Mr. Beast does. They need to be talking like this, fast-paced, boom, boom, have cuts, editors. It's like whatever content you feel like you can make at scale forever, just make that at the beginning. And so for me, that was just like random funny like 3-line posts on LinkedIn, and it's kind of slowly evolved. I couldn't do skits at scale for a while, and that was something I was trying to solve. Now I can do skits at scale, so we make way more skits than we used to. But it's like an ever evolve, and I'm sure that that's going to morph into something else. Like it's already like I might start doing vlogs with this too. So it just morphs. But I would say optimize for yourself, create content in a format that you can do at scale forever and won't burn out, and that can be anything. But you have to like test and try a bunch of different formats. So some people think when I make content, I have to record myself. But if that like drains you, people are going to see that and feel that through the video. It's not going to perform anyways. So like find that format for you.
Love it. Do you remember the first bit of content you posted?
The first, well, I mean, I had like personal socials. So like I had a fake Instagram account. We called it like a Finsta, and I would post random funny edits. Like I remember the first time I would say a piece of my content went viral was I made this edit of one of my best friends, Mason, who's a good basketball player in high school, and he got crossed up by like we lived in the county, and their basketball team was good for Baltimore County, But when you come to Baltimore City, it's a different level. Like Carmelo Anthony, Kevin Durant, like they're from Baltimore City. So like the talent is way better. So they played a city team, and my friend Mason got crossed up. So like he fell on the floor and the guy got by him. And so I made an edit. Oof, I just punched my desk. I made an edit of him like getting crossed up and falling, and I did like this funny music edit, and they put it on the morning announcements. And so that was hilarious. That was the first time I would say a piece of my content reached more eyeballs than just like my immediate friend group. The actual first piece of content I created for like work was this company called Impact Snacks, which actually no, before that, this company called Nucleus Care, which was like it was a product for elderly people like in nursing homes, and I was making
okay, not in nursing homes.
Not yet. Like old. I think I made like 6 videos. The guy paid me $18 an hour and was like, "This is not going to work."
But were you making fun of the old people?
No, we were just making very informative like product demos, honestly. And then that morphed into I was an intern at this company called Impact Snacks, which was a vegan superfood bar, and you could eat the wrapper of the bar because it was like biodegradable. And I made memes for them. That was my first foray into memes, and like they had a small audience, and so that was a good experience.
Do you have to have skills? So it sounds like you have video editing skills, and sometimes what people tell me is, "Oh, I can't post because I don't have skills," and I always just pick up my phone. I'm like, "Do you have a hand? Can you click it? Can you turn it on?" Like, and you can just post it, right? So talk about skills. What do you have to have?
Like you just got to be willing to look like an idiot. Like that's probably the biggest skill. Like just use ChatGPT and ask what apps do I need to be able to make a video and post it, and it'll be like get the edits app on Instagram and then record yourself and click post. Like you don't need to know. Like I'm not by no means a video editor. Like those skits that we make, the reason we make those skits is because I'm optimizing for my skill set. I can't do high production video editing. So instead, to step around that, I'm like, we're going to create content where I don't need to edit. So if you notice in those videos, we literally don't edit anything. It's just one take. Occasionally we'll trim, like if we need to, like maybe if someone curses and we can't have a curse word in there, but and like,
I don't edit either. I started with this, and then after a while, I was doing my videos, and people were like, I saw one of your running videos, low quality. So I Googled, and it was like, buy the DJI, right? The Osmo Pocket 3. And I was like, I'll go and buy it. I went to the shop, and the guy's like, dude, you have to queue up for that. Like, you can't just buy a DJI because they're so popular. And I don't know, you obviously know DJI. The reason it's high quality is it, apart from being good quality stuff, it brought a company called Hasselblad. Hasselblad was the original camera company from like 1890 who used to do the big stills with the big over the top. So it's like the original content creator stuff. And when I got my camera, I'm not technical. Like seriously, man, I can't do shit. Like my joke is because I sell tech, and when I meet business people, they're like, "Do you know tech?" I say, "Well, I can spell API." And they all like, exactly. Thank you.
That's
there you go.
good.
Yeah,
That's good.
And the funny thing is, the business person goes, ha 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 ha, and I know they don't know what an API is, so they can't ask me. You know, and I actually don't really know what it is either, but I know they don't know. Like I know they don't know, so they're like, ha, great, yeah. But when I got this camera and I turned it on myself, and it was high quality, you know what people told me? Oh wow, man, your video skills are great. I'm like, wait, I just spent $700. My skill was to spend $700 on a camera. That was my skill. And I realized I don't even have to edit. So I just record, click, put it on my phone, post. Wait, why isn't everybody doing this?
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of wild. Like, I mean, props to you. Do you have a DJI mic too?
I got, so, you know, they were good at selling. There was the camera, and it said, do you want the creator combo? I'm like, dude, I'm a creator. Let's go. I got the tripod. I got the mic. I got it all.
All right, then you have a very good setup. Like, I don't have a DJI camera. I have the DJI mics somewhere around here, but
sure,
like the iPhone is a really good camera too. So to anyone who doesn't want to spend more money. Like, I mean, one of my friends, Owen, is like now like creating a bunch of content. He's always been like super entertaining, and like he has the sauce. Like he's just a dude that you're around and you're like, he's hilarious. He's not even trying to be funny. And that is another thing, like different types of humor, right? Like if people think of me, like they don't think I'm a class clown, even though like I make all my money from being funny. It's like a different type of humor. He's not a class clown, but he's just one of those guys who's like effortlessly funny. And so he started getting himself in front of a camera and he's doing food reviews. Like, and these food reviews, like he's in a busy restaurant, you can't freaking hear what he's saying. I'm like, dude, get a freaking mic. Like, get a mic. Yeah. But people are so resistant to that. I just gave him a mic. I'm like, dude, you're an idiot. You won't spend $70 on yourself, but whatever. So, yeah, it is very important to like sometimes the low quality play is a move, and like that kind of leads to differentiation. But like if people can't see you or hear you, like
I mean, I think it came out pretty much when you were born. Have you heard of a movie called The Blair Witch Project?
Yeah, I've watched it.
Okay, so that was one of the first times that's when there was like a Sony handheld cam, and people were like, that'll never work. And it went
It worked.
It really, really worked, right? And I don't know if you saw recently, do you see this British film called Adolescence? It was on Netflix. So it won all of the global, the Emmys.
It talks about like dudes and like guys who are like, I don't want to say like sexist or whatever, but like.
Yes.
Yeah.
But here's the point. One take. The whole 45-minute episode. Watch it. You're a creator. Watch it. Now, they spent millions on cameras, but they did walking from building in, out, another drone came in, and the actors had to do it all in one take. And when you watch it, you're like, no. Like that's
insane.
4 episodes, 45 minutes each. They won lots of awards. And of course, they went at the other scale. But I think your point that I'm hearing is lean into what you know. Like the guy that produced it said, I always produce one take stuff. You know, for me, I love running in sales, and people are like, oh, why don't you run out of ideas? I'm like, I could talk all day about this shit, right? You like being funny. You like doing this stuff. And I think it comes through, right? You've got to be able to show, you've got a phone, you've got your thing. So a question, what happens when, I get this all the time, somebody says, oh, I got nothing to talk about. I'm like, really?
Yeah, I mean, then this whole time they've been forcing themselves into a niche that isn't like what they're interested in. I literally never run out of ideas because I'm always in the weeds here. But like that also plays into your point of like, you know, you need to cater to your skill set and play your game, because if you play someone else's game, the best you're going to be is second place.
Look at that.
Right? And you don't, like, I always think of this, like, in business mindset, like, I'm very competitive, but not like a toxic competitiveness, but like, I want to drag people into my deep end. I don't want to be caught in their deep end, because I know I can hang out in my deep, like, I want to force them to try and play my game, because I'm going to kick their ass in it. So when you go create content, like, don't go play other people's games, play your game. Create content that just like about things that you're experiencing every single day or spending tons of time invested in. Like for you, it's sales and running. That's like effortless. Like you're probably always running and or have so many stories from these different runs. You're probably always selling. And then there's probably a ton of crossover between both where you're like, here are the similarities between the two. And on top of that, there's a bunch of sales guys and women who are runners. And so, like, one, there's a bunch of salesmen and women in the world. There's a bunch of runners in the world. There's also a bunch that are in the crossover here. And so there's just a bunch to play with there.
Dude, like, you're very thoughtful about this shit. You do think about it a lot, right?
Very, very much so. I mean, there's a lot of agencies. Now, my agency's not the biggest by any means.
Sure.
But there's a lot of agencies that are at my size who have had to pivot, add another offering, like sacrifice on quality of the brands they work with, because they aren't as thoughtful as we are about like this strategy here. when people think memes and humor, they think like new age. It's like the quick crack, quick hit on the timeline, like what's trending, boom, boom, boom. I am like, all right, I want to pull stuff from the fundamentals of marketing, stuff that has never freaking changed, and it's like psychology, and pair this new age of marketing, which is memes and like trending, and like let's make something new in the middle here, which is where we are. And we don't make like trending content. Like I don't know if you've noticed, like for the majority of my content, I'd say 90% of it, I'm not necessarily commenting on like what's happening in the culture every day, but more on the steadfast topics that don't really change. And so that's what we do. We're like, we're going to make you memes, but they're going to be evergreen. So if you stop working with us in 6 months, you can post them and get just as much value.
Exactly. Your out of office one. And why don't you just, I think it's worth, I'll put it in the show notes, because I actually thought it was brilliant. You explain your commission check one, because to me, that is as funny when I started sales in 1980 as it is today in 2026. Maybe just explain it to the audience.
Yeah, so we had a call. I forget who all was on that call. I think it was 3 or 4 of us, but...
4.
All right, yeah, so it was me, and then Jacob, who's like one of our creators. He's younger. He's probably 21, 22. And then Charles on my team and Arupe on my team. They're both a little bit older. And I'm like the manager. That's my character in all of these. So like my character stays the same. So people start to know like who I am and whatnot. And we're congratulating Jacob on closing his first deal. And I asked him what he's going to spend his first commission check on. Because, you know, like Gen Z gets a lot of slack, but if you could think of what a Gen Z person would spend their first commission check on, it'd probably be some stupid. Maybe like a chain or like a Rolex. And then they realize they bought a $7,000 Rolex and they have to pay taxes on their commission check. And so now they're just like, you know. But we took it a little step further. This is an example of when we were kind of being a little bit timely. And why I don't like to do this too much is because we're never going to be able to repost this video because it doesn't make sense. Because he says Patriots money line, and we posted that a week before the Super Bowl. Patriots money line, obviously being like a bet on the Patriots.
But that is evergreen as well. Like, sure, it was before the Super Bowl, but people are always going to bet the line on the Patriots, right?
True. And then and we had him say that with conviction. Like, Patriots money line. And then, like, this is just part of the coaching him is like you want people to see it in real time, his brain recalculate and be like, work meeting. I mean, I'm going to put it in my 401,000K account. Investing is the truth. And it's like, it plays into multiple things because there's people my age and his age who know someone like that, or are that person themselves and be like, oh, that's me. Like, I've said some dumb stuff in a meeting before. And then there's also the older generation where this video kind of like affirms their beliefs about Gen Z and they think it's funny.
I totally. Like, it was great. It was like, yeah, right. And the bit at the end where he's like, investing is the truth. And, you know, I think it was, I mean, obviously you've watched The Office, right?
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And I'm sure you've watched The British Office as well.
I have seen it, yeah.
Yeah.
With Ricky Gervais.
You know, exactly. And I think it's all of that same kind of idea that there's literally nothing in The Office that's actually funny. They're not like jokes, you know, why did the chicken cross the road? It is situational humor. And I think humor, you know, used in this way, it's so good.
Yeah, like at its fundamental, humor is truth. The funniest things are the truest of things. And that's what we do. That is what the people who do obvious humor don't get. That like humor is truth. And if you say something that a lot of people are thinking subconsciously but no one's said out loud yet, that's when you get the biggest laugh. That's when like everyone's brains are on the same wavelength, and then it short circuits their brain, and that's when they laugh.
I love it, man. Listen, dude, I've taken up a bunch of your time. This is awesome. Honestly, I have been super impressed with the way you think about this. I thought we were just going to talk about funny meme shit, and you've actually given more of a marketing. But it's great. One last question before my final 2 questions. Who's your competitor? Are there a lot of agencies doing this?
Yeah, there's a few agencies that offer similar service in a sense of like humor. But one of the reasons we've really delved down into this SaaS niche, and like obviously things have changed, like, but currently we have like a stronghold on this niche. There's other agencies who aren't thinking about humor in the same way we are. They're thinking about it in like the typical way. It's like we're going to be funny, kind of unhinged, and so the brands that are going to be interested in that are like consumer-facing brands, maybe like an alcohol brand or like condoms, like stuff like that. Where we've continued to be like, it's a harder sell, and like it's taken a little bit longer to scale and acquire these clients, but we still work with 12 to 15 brands a month, and it's like bringing this content style to companies that would never touch it in the first place until we like slowly convince them. So there's other companies, long story short, that offer the same service. We do it in a segment and strategically that like I'm confident these other companies wouldn't be able to get in touch or even successfully sell that like a Zapier. They just don't understand like the inner workings of a proper marketing team and like what pain to communicate and pull on in those sales calls.
Listen, dude, you've already got an impressive list of clients. Keep doing it, man. It is awesome. And look, I live in Asia. I think it's going to be a lot harder over here. Not that you're coming over here, but, you know, because it is a lot more kind of straight-laced and professional. But I would love to see all of the brands doing it. I really notice it now. There was a company called Indeed. They're a job advert board. And they have they have this fantastic ad where there's a hiring person. And it said, okay, great. So just one last question. What salary do you want? And the person goes, well, I thought it was for you to offer salary. And the hirer goes, no, I wouldn't dream of it. I wouldn't dream of it. Please, after you. And the person's like, but I don't want to be very British. I don't want to be rude and say, please. Because basically, you know, the guy getting hired doesn't want to say. It's a really nice ad, and it's for a job board. And it says, Indeed, stop guessing. And it was just beautifully done because it was super thoughtful. And I saw that. I'm like, and now, honestly, I've seen other job board ads. I don't remember anybody else. Like I don't. So look, keep doing your thing, man. It's awesome.
We did have a meeting. I'm gonna try and find it. I had a meeting with a company from Singapore last week.
What? Let's go. Who was it?
I'm gonna try and find it. What was it called? I gotta find it.
That's
it
all
was
right.
like a 3PL, third-party logistics company in Singapore. We'll see what we can do.
Well, if you do, we do it. Cool. Man, it's been an absolute pleasure. I have 2 final questions I ask all my guests. All right, first one. If you could live forever, would you?
No.
And why?
That gives no meaning to anything. Not at all.
Good job, man.
There's
Good
no
job.
purpose or meaning without that.
Good job. You're a thoughtful dude. Here's the interesting thing. Most young dudes go, yeah, I want to live forever. I'm going to kill it. I'm going to do my shit forever. But you're right. If you live forever, like, what's the point? All right. This is kind of a follow-up question for people who say yes, but it's the same thing. Okay. For the rest of your life, you can only eat one food and one food only with no health consequences. So the rest of your life, you only get to eat one food and one food only with no health consequences. What food is it and why?
I would say just because now this might change, but I'm at this point in my life, like the last year and a half, I've been really focused on bulking and gaining weight and muscle. So I would just say eggs. Eggs, because they're
You'd be huge, dude. You'd be huge.
I love eggs. I used to eat 6 every morning. I did that for a year and a half.
What?
And then like a month ago, I cut back to 3 and oatmeal. So now I do 3 eggs and oatmeal every morning.
Well, it's good to see you're healthy, man. That is awesome.
Yeah, I got the protein shake here, so I'm trying to
Look at
get
you.
the gains up.
Next time we're on here, you won't fit on the screen. You'll be like bulging.
Do a lat spread.
You got to do it. You got to make a meme about that too. You got to find some way to make a meme out of that too. Aiden, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. Thank you for coming on, and look forward to seeing more of your stuff on LinkedIn and your business grow. Okay.
Thank you for having me, Ned. This was fun.
No worries. Absolute pleasure, man.